Good afternoon, everyone. I may have met some of you already, or at least spoken to you, but let me introduce myself. My name is Ellen Kawaguchi, and I belong to the Kotoba and Communication course of the English Language and Literature Department. Today, I'm going to talk to you about language varieties. We are limited for time today, so I'm just going to touch upon a few things that you will encounter in the classes. Now, language variety refers to all the different things that you see or hear in language use among speakers. So let's look at some of these differences that people have when they speak. The first one is geographical area. We have a difference in the way we speak depending on where we come from. So if you look at Japan, you can see there's Hokkaido and Kyushu and Shikoku. All the people who come from these places speak slightly differently, although they're all speaking Japanese. Some of you who are listening to me today may be from other areas, right? We have the same thing in the United States. So if you come from the East Coast, you may sound a little bit different from someone from the West Coast. Now, I'm an American, so I'm showing you the American map. But this is also true for when you go to England or Australia or any English-speaking country or any language country that you visit. There's going to be differences among people depending on where they come from within that regional area. And this is what we'll see. Sometimes we talk about a dialect. Now, a dialect is a language variation depending on geographical regions, as we said. Also, it's a variety of a single language that shares systematic features and that is able to be understood by speakers of all the varieties of that language. Let me explain that to you. If you're in Japan, you're speaking Japanese. That's a single language. Now, if you're in the Kanto area, you may speak a certain way. But the interesting thing is, everyone in the Kanto area speaks basically the same way. But there are differences among the people in the Kanto area. Take Kyushu, for example. Now, we generally say Kyushu Ben when we talk about the whole area of Kyushu. But people from Kyushu will tell you Fukuoka Ben is different from Kagoshima Ben, which is also different from Oita Ben. There are differences, and these are systematically different. But everyone can basically understand each other. Yeah? Then we also have mutual intelligibility. That means we can understand each other. If it becomes too difficult to understand each other, then it's not the single language. It's not one language, it's another language. It's two languages. For example, if you look at Okinawa, the people in Okinawa speak a dialect that everyone understands among themselves. But if someone from Tokyo visited Okinawa, do you think they will understand everything the people in Okinawa speak? Might be difficult. Maybe Okinawa Ben is not really Japanese. This is something to talk about, to think about, to discuss. We do this in class. Okay? Next is the idiosyncrasies. These features are not systematic. They are individual differences. We'll look at them a little bit more a little later. Let's go on to the next part. When we talk about dialects, we have to consider also the social class, the ethnic background, the geographical background, and there are differences that include pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar. Pronunciation, for example. I'm from the East Coast of the United States, so I say insurance. But someone from the South will usually say insurance. The syllable in the beginning of the word takes the stress. So, to me, insurance sounds a little strange. Whereas if I say insurance, some people may find that strange. In Tokyo, we say arigato. My friends in Kyoto say arigato. You have differences in pronunciation. Same thing for vocabulary. In the East Coast of the United States, we usually say soda, the bubbly drink, like Coca-Cola. But if you go to the Midwest, people usually say pop. They do not say soda, or maybe soda pop. In Japan, I got a shock when my friend from Hokkaido said, "Gomi wo nageru." I wanted to know, what are you going to do? She said, nageru. But for her, nageru is steru. So you have differences in vocabulary. We have the same thing with grammar, too. Many people, native speakers, say different than. Some people say different to. Others say different from. All of these prepositions are different. Yeah? Let's go on to another group because we don't have very much more time. The next group that we want to talk about is the socio-economic group. As it says, socio, society, social, and economic is about money. So, if you are from a rather well-to-do, wealthy group, you may speak one way. But if you're from another group, you may speak another way. If you look at the picture very carefully, you'll notice the top picture is about the mid-19th century in America. It's a party. But the picture below is the mid-19th century America. These are very poor people. These people have different ways of speaking. Their educational background is different. So, if you are of the rich or the middle class or of the poor, the way you speak will be different. Then we have the individual usages. In this case, we're talking about who you are speaking to. If you are the speaker, you may speak one way. If you are the listener, you may speak another way. That may depend on the position that you have. Are you talking to your boss? Are you talking to your employee? Or are you a patient talking to a doctor? How about friends? When you meet your friend in the morning, the way you greet them is "Ohayo." But if you talk to your teacher on the way to school, you will say "Ohayo gozaimasu." The way you speak again would be different. Yeah? The way you speak to your parent may be different. All right? Also, the location. Now, where you are will also make a difference in the way you speak. For example, if you're in the library, it's not the language that you use, but how you use it. You become very quiet. Can people hear you? If you're in a church or a chapel, again, the way you speak is very softly, very piously. But if you're in the cafeteria and you're relaxed with your friends, you may become louder, a little bit more boisterous. So, the way you speak again is different. Then we have register. And with the register, we have the situation of use. Language uses depend on the relationship that you have with the speaker. So if we look at the picture from the past slide, you will see there is the difference of where you are and who you're talking to. Look at the chart. We can also add formal or informal. Do you go to school in a relaxed way? Do you go to your company in a relaxed way? Up to now, most cases was no, because companies had rules. But many places are becoming more relaxed. Yeah? One more difference that I'd like to mention is gender. Depending on your sex, the way you speak may be different. There are differences in the way men and women speak, and we can see this in the vocabulary and the style. So, in Japan, if you are a man, you'll talk about your father using the word oyaji. But most women will not talk about their fathers as oyaji. They will say otosan. In the same way, most women will continue to use the word daddy when they're young, but men will not talk about their fathers as daddy after a certain age. And the last one is idiolect. Idiolect is that one person's speech pattern, not a group of people. So it's the unique features of an individual's language, the voice quality, the pitch, speech rhythm. Imagine we have this little kid. He has a very distinct way of speaking. I can't imitate him, but you get the idea. We have another one here. I'm sure Daigo does not speak like this all the time, but when he's on television, he has his own idiolect. And this is basically what you study. When we have time, we go into the very last section, and that is ethnicity. And this is very difficult to study, but very interesting. First, we have to look at the difference between race and ethnicity. So, race is based on biological characteristics. These are things you usually cannot change. The color of your skin, the shape of your eyes, and the way you speak. But ethnicity is based on cultural characteristics. We won't go into it today, but you can see there are different characteristics based on culture. And again, this also changes the way you speak. This is all for today, but I hope you will join us in class and really study each area very deeply.